So this one is for all of the moms out there because it seems of all of the roles, the role of mother comes with the heaviest dose of shame. Mom guilt is a true thing, and this is weighing us down. It's stopping us from living our best lives, and I am done with it. I am done with feeling bad for being human. Who's with me on that? Like, sometimes it feels like we're living in two separate worlds. Like, we have this external world and we send out our best smile into this world and we try and convince everyone that we got this. And we have this internal world where we are a complete hot mess. Inside, we've got all of our emotions fighting to be heard and all of our rational side trying to do something about it. Like, my rational side loves to research. Like, it thinks, oh, maybe if we try this new technique or product or just read that book, probably all the answers will be in there. And then we'll be able to have our act together. And so I smile outwardly as I hold myself together inwardly. Anyone ever feel like that? Why do we do that? Why are we so afraid to let the world see what's just below the surface? So that's what we're going to talk about today. The guilt and the shame that comes with being a mom. And then we're going to see if we can shift that into something just a little bit more productive. All right, moms? So first, we're going to remember that our mind is a brilliant data processing machine whose sole purpose is to keep us safe and alive just a little bit longer. And if we bring it way back, we evolved as a social species. And the best way to stay safe is to be part of the pack, to be included in our social community. And our mind notices how everyone around us is behaving and how everyone around us is reacting to what we're doing. And it starts creating programs for us. If you just behave this way, people will like you, and then you will be safe. And so the program says, just behave like that always. And so let's imagine that our mind sorts the information just onto two simple sides for now, okay? One good side and one bad side. Okay, I actually made some visuals for you because I really want to hammer this home today. So let me just share my screen real quick. Okay, so here's our list. Our mind creates lists of things that are good for us to do or be part of to maintain our spot in the group. And our mind creates lists of things that are bad for us to do and be part of for our status in the group. And so we have a list, one list for each of our identities. Can you get that? We are mothers and sisters and daughters and aunts. We are friends and colleagues, and maybe we have lots of other identities like entrepreneur or social influencer or pet owner or homeowner. And each of these is going to have its own extensive list of requirements of what to be in order to be good or bad, acceptable or not acceptable, successful or not successful. And within each of these categories, there's going to be subcategories that each have their own long list. So let's just look at the category of mother for a second. Just the one category. We've got all of this in our heads, but we're just going to focus on what does it mean to be acceptable, not acceptable, good, bad, successful, not successful for a mom. Can you think of any subcategories? How about how we look? We can categorize our success about how our children behave. Because how successful do we feel when we have to leave the restaurant because your kid's meal is not only covering yourself, but three other innocent bystanders? Okay, what about how much time we spend with them? Do we work? Do we work late? Okay, there's a lot of mom guilt there. Things to do, good and bad. We can also categorize about how we handle our obstacles, like how we behave when our child destroys a toy display in an epic tantrum at Walmart, right? We can categorize it into how well we manage stress. Like we all want to be like those cool as a cucumber moms, right? We can categorize it into how well stimulated our kids are, as evidenced by all of the enriching activities that we put them in. And don't forget about their success in those activities, because we all know what is whispered about the slowest kid on the soccer team, or we can see, our minds can see the groans from the other parents when that kid who's never hit a ball steps up to bat, when there's 2 outs and the bases are loaded. Successful kids, successful parents. I love that there are so many ideas in the chat, keeping up with the creative moms. Oh my goodness, yes, the social media, all of that stuff for sure. I'm going to stop sharing right now. I'm sure we could think of many, many more. Like I would have an entire list about food, because that's like a whole beast on our own. What our kids eat, how much they eat, if it's sugary, organic, or like, God forbid, pre-packaged. Okay, what else? What else do we maybe have lists about? How about how our kids are dressed? Yeah, that can get judgment. What else? How about how clean our kids are, or how their hair looks, or how dirty their fingernails are? What else, moms? What else? Oh, I forgot about screen time. Yes, screen time is a big issue where we have good and bad lists. And what about how clean our house is? How tidy the kids' toy area? What about our crafting skills, or our cake decorating skills, or how complete our kids' homework is? Okay, that's just the mom list. That's just the mom list. We have all those other lists about what it means to be a good daughter or friend or successful colleague, but moms, we get the mother load. Maybe that's even where that phrase comes from. We have this extra giant load of programs that we have to try to measure up to every single day. And when we talk about overwhelm, we don't talk about this. Yes, the list of things that you all do, every single one of you do in a day, is overwhelming on its own. But we're also carrying this heavy, heavy mother load with you wherever you go, and that is exhausting. If you are enjoying this video, hit the subscribe button so that you can see all of our videos on preventing parental burnout and how the heck we are supposed to do self-care when everyone needs us all the time. And even though we are all struggling with this, every single one of us, our mind tells us that we will only be successful if we show that one side, that one half of the list that means that we are good and worthy and successful. And so we post photos of the happy moments so that everyone can see that, man, we're doing an amazing job. We post photos about the cool activities that we're doing with our kids. And we post photos about our kids' achievements, and we are applauded. And we get likes because, damn it, we are doing an amazing job. And there's nothing wrong with that. But let's notice that we do not post photos about the tough times. I have no photos of me crying in the bathroom because I feel like I mishandled my kid's tantrum earlier. I have no photos of the school suspension letters that my kids brought home after having started a fight in the schoolyard, or the box of crackers that my son ate for dinner because he refused to eat anything else and I just gave in. Because those are on the other side of the list, the shameful side of the list. And so what happens is that we only see each other's successful side. We see the smiling faces, and we feel like we aren't quite measuring up to that. We see the expensive birthday cakes and we equate that with love and happiness. Fancy cake, everybody must be shiny, happy as well. We see moms competing in 5-kilometer races with their kids with smiles and medals and we wonder what we're doing wrong if all we were able to accomplish today was to rewash that load of laundry that we had left in the washer for a week and it kind of stank. And that's when the mind BS comes in and starts telling us all sorts of stories. Remember, our mind BS solidifies our programs. So it starts telling us stories about how things should be, stories about how others are doing, and about maybe what our relationships should be like, what our kids should be like, what our parenting should be like, stories about how everyone else is doing better than we are, how everyone else has everything together. They are happier, they are wealthier, they are just better. And for many of us, that mind BS just adds to the weight that we're carrying, and we push against it, trying to be better, and we become even more exhausted and defeated. Our mind BS tells us stories about how we're the only ones with these unsuccessful sides. We're the only ones who have these tough moments that aren't at all like things should be. And everyone else is just like living in this, I don't know, constant state of bliss or something. It makes us feel like we're failing at life and we're failing at the job that matters most to us, which is parenting. And this is the reasons why mothers turn into maids and often martyrs. This is the reason that mothers drink, because we're trying to live up to this definition of successful and acceptable and lovable that our mind has created. Okay? But this is total BS. Say it with me. This is total BS. The reality is that humanity is always a mix of good and bad, happy, sad, successes and failures. And the very habits that our mind BS is telling us will bring us community, like showing only our good side, are in fact robbing us of it. Mothers are feeling more alone and isolated than ever. And what would happen if we just acknowledged our hot mess side? What would happen if we reached out to a friend when we felt unsuccessful? That takes so much courage, you guys. How do you think your friend would react, though? What would happen if mothers talked openly about how hard it is to be a mom, about balancing all of these responsibilities and about feeling unsuccessful like at least half of the time? Because guess what? Those moms posting about their successes are doing amazing. And the moms getting through the hard times are doing amazing too. Okay? So, all right. End rant, reset. Let's get together and do a short exercise. Okay, so this could be just a visualization. You can just think about it in your head if you want, but if you like to write, this is also a great journaling exercise. So if you feel like grabbing a pen and paper, if you want to write it all down, please go ahead and do that right now. And then get comfy in your chair. All right. I know I need to reset after this big rant, so we're just going to take a big breath in. I'm going to imagine all the breath going all the way down to my toes, filling me up to my toes, and then out again. So like, okay. Now, think back to the moment that you decided you wanted to have a family. Maybe you were little, maybe a teenager, or maybe it was decided for you. Let your brilliant mind settle on an image of you around that time when you are thinking that maybe I might want to become a mom. All right. Now finish this sentence as if you were still that age thinking these thoughts. Okay? I know I'm going to be a great mom because I'm going to be. Finish that sentence. All right, next one. I'm nervous about being a mom because I'm scared that I'm going to be. Okay. Now give that younger you a hug. Is there anything you want to say to her before you move on? So now you can see that younger you fading away into the past. You blast past the present and you're moving into the future. Your child, your actual child, has just become a parent. Congratulations. You can see that older version of your child beaming as they hold their new baby. You can see in their eyes that they are feeling all of the excitement about being a parent and all of the nervousness too, about maybe not being good enough. And as you look into your beautiful child's grown-up face, you tell them this. Finish these sentences. My darling, as a parent, you will sometimes feel like. But I want you to know. Like. And my darling child, I will always blank. Okay, now with a big deep breath, you are back in the present with all of that beautiful wisdom. Now I believe that as parents, one of my goals, doesn't always happen, but one of my goals is to model the behaviors that I want them to display. And one of the behaviors that I do not want for them in their life is how hard I am on myself. I don't want them to have the definition of success that I had, where I had to have it all together and be totally competent at everything and have all the answers and all those other impossible standards that robbed me of joy and caused me to burn out. So what if we could talk to ourselves like we just did in our exercise, like we just talked to our future child? If you wrote it down, look at what you wrote or reflect upon what you thought. What do you want your child to know? Can you tell yourself that right now? Can you look in the mirror and say to yourself, I want you to know blank, and tell yourself what you wrote for your child. How does that feel? All right, what about the one where we wrote, I will always? I will always. Can you promise that to yourself? Maybe you said something like, I will always love and support you. What would it look like to model love and support of yourself? To answer that, think about what it would look like to give that to your kid when they become a parent. Like, maybe it looks like encouragement when they're having a hard time, or maybe helping them to take a break so that they can recharge, and maybe giving them time to reconnect with their spouse. Okay? So think about what you would do for them to honor that promise to them, and see if you can give it to yourself. Because guess what? Your programs tell you that helping someone else, loving someone else, giving to someone else, that's good. That's on the good side. But loving yourself, giving to yourself, that's on the bad side. That's on the selfish side. But we want our kids to have those new programs. I want our kids to think that having a break is normal and is not a failure. and that reaching out for help is a strength. And even that, like, speaking kindly to yourself, which we might have to model out loud for them. Oh, how hard is that? That's how we get through life. I know that my life would have been very different if my mind had created those different programs. And so this is how we take our power back. This is how we lift off that heavy burden of our old programs and all the mind BS that comes with it, that is weighing us down and disconnecting us from each other. We have the power to break down our old programs like we just did, so that we can live happier and so that we don't inadvertently pass them on to the next generation. So if we can treat ourselves the way that we would treat someone we love, we are starting to shed our old BS. We are starting to break down our own programs. Because guess what, moms? You get to create your own story. You get to create your own definition of success. And so if you'd like to continue to dig into your old programs, there's a lot of work to do here. Go to my blog at mindbs.ca/blog, and there's some free videos for you and some downloads there to walk you through how to get started so you can get started right away. Moms, I want you to hear this. Moms, we are powerful. Okay, high five to that. We have the power to choose how we live and what weights we carry. We also have the power to change how we support each other as we navigate this crazy, complicated journey of parenting. And we as moms have the power to model balance for the next generation, so that one day self-care just becomes normal for our kids and they live very differently, much lighter than we always have. So I want you to know that you are doing an amazing job, no matter what's going on your inside of your two sides today. And if you ever need an ear, I am always here, my friend. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for showing up for yourself and for all of this group today. Go moms. Bye for now.
Join me in my Blissfully Busy Facebook group to see if we can figure out how to dodge burnout together.